26, 1999, TISM left the stage at the Sydney Big Day Out and commenced work on a new album scheduled for release later that year. 2.5 years later, after writing over 100 songs, going broke and out of a record contract, TISM finally delivered the finished work. An album so awesome it won them a lucrative new deal with Festival Mushroom Records. An album called De-Rigamortis.
I suppose De-Rigamortis was chosen as a title because it connects, at times literally, at times obliquely, to each of the themes on the album. Actually, we were going to call it Kylie Minogue's greatest hits, but our record company said, we just can't see it selling.
You're rolling 5 years from a You're rolling 5 years from a
5 Yards.
5 Yards actually began as a song called Affirmation 2. It was written as a sequel to a song called Affirmation by Savage Garden, where they list off this series of prophetically wise, almost epiphanic observations on the human condition, like, I believe junk food tastes so good because it's bad for you, or I believe beauty magazines promote low self-esteem. Like, you know, some people think the guys in Savage Garden are just a couple of fey posers, but, I mean, I wish I could write stuff like that. Anyway, I sat down and thought, what do I believe? And that's what came out, really. You're only 5 yards from a fuckwit.
You're rolling 5 years from a You're rolling 5 years from a
Thou Shalt Not Britney Spears.
Thou Shalt Not Britney Spears is actually based on a 17th century love poem by Andrew Marvell entitled To His Coy Mistress. In a slightly ironic twist, the protagonist of the TISM song is actually applying the reverse approach to that of Marvell's protagonist, whereby he's attempting to entice his coy mistress into an act of sexual congress by showing complete disdain for the purely physical aspects of love, thus arousing the ire of his paramour and successfully consummating the relationship.
What the fuck?
This is a technique which has so far produced nil results for the members of TISM.
Channel Turd.
Channel Turd was originally called My Ninja Cockle. Then it briefly became Parents Are Complete Assholes. Then No Fucking Idea. Then it was I Never Met a Krusty That I Liked. No Fucking Idea again for a short period. Then All Good-Looking Guys Are Assholes. But really, you know, we were just biding our time. We were waiting for real TV shows to hit the Australian consciousness. It is a little-known fact that TISM actually came up with the idea for reality TV and sold it to the networks. It's just a bit of a shame that the networks chose to omit the snuff element that was so crucial to our original blueprint.
Schoolies Week.
We recorded the Wesley Choir in full uniform during school hours. We told them it was a Christian song, and it is really. I mean, there are biblical allusions in the lyric. And when you think of the idea of Schoolies Week, you know, what could be more Christian than inviting a bunch of children to the most money-raped stretch of land in the country and encouraging them to contract alcohol poisoning?
Who the fuck blow that plastic trumpet?
For a pagan worshipper, 5 points for a well business leader.
Blow that plastic trumpet.
De-Rigamortis is a 17-minute journey into the mind of TISM. A journey that nearly broke the band. What of the rumours of bankruptcy and nervous exhaustion during the recording?
TISM spent so much on light fittings and comfortable furniture for their mobile studio that they didn't have enough left to actually record the album. That's where I came in.
Producer, musician and film score composer Henry Graver.
So I had to call in some favours. I found out what major artists were recording at what studios. With a little research and a judiciously applied crowbar, we let ourselves into the various studios after hours, recorded our tracks using their equipment, then rearranged everything as it had been before we touched it and left. It was a total nightmare to record, but this album will scoop the pool for Interior Design Awards.
Eating fruit is mean and vicious. Keep your hands off golden delicious. World Bank is wrong, so is feta. My voodoo man will make it better. My voodoo man speaks only Hindi. Put super glue on my bindi.
On De-Rigamortis, TISM variously employed a string section, a children's choir, a Baroque recorder quintet, and a huge cast of guest actors. The culmination of this hubristic excess occurred on the album's most talked about and enigmatic track, Intermission.
TISM are heavily influenced by silence, nothingness, exploring the essential nature of fuck-allness. It's, of course, famously present in the work of the avant-garde composer John Cage, and also the title track of Sly and the Family Stone's There's a Riot Going On, as well as the combined worth of the entire recorded output of R.E.M. Anyway, for Intermission, we had the Melbourne Symphony Orchestra in the studio, and instead of scoring the part for them, I asked each instrumentalist to work out a musical transition from the lowest note of their scale to the highest note, within a time frame of 32 bars, and then not play it. Unfortunately, there was a lot of analogue hiss on the recording, so we had to scrub it and use a sample from the yet-to-be-released TISM Unplugged album.
It's time for the Messiah of hardcore Christian Inc. Sun reverse your baseball cap, jack your arms like Lancelot Blink. It's born again, stone fat bitch ass boy fantasy religion. Feed the horn and mosh pit, limp biscuit communion. You preening dumb tool. You vacuous, confident, ignorant, poor dumb tool.
This, then, is De-Rigamortis, the most expensively recorded, self-indulgent, confusing album of TISM's career. De-Rigamortis, 3 years in the making, and 15 seconds before the critics will have it all worked out. De-Rigamortis, simultaneously the most challenging and most throwaway album you'll hear this decade. De-Rigamortis, buy it. It's the done thing. And if you don't, you can get fucked for starters.